Well, I'm officially D. Bruce Shine, better known as Bruce Shine. I am not an absolute native of the area, but I've lived in Upper East Tennessee off and on since I was 17. I attended Tusculum College at Greenville. And after Tusculum, I went to Vanderbilt Law School. And then from Vanderbilt, I went to Columbia Graduate Law School, living in New York. I've lived in Paris when I worked for NATO. I have more degrees than I need. In addition to my undergraduate, my law degree, I have a Master of Laws from the University of Leicester in the United Kingdom, and I have an Honorary Doctor of Laws degree. I've practiced law in Kingsport since approximately April Fool's Day, 1967. I always have said that as long as Piedmont Airlines existed, and now U.S. Air, and I could fly in and out and go where I needed to go, I would always live in Upper East Tennessee. It is perhaps the most beautiful area of America. It has a charm about it that's very much its own. And I can, as I've told some of my friends in London, I can leave my office at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and be on the 8 o'clock plane to London and be there the next morning. My practice is basically in the field of employment law, and that can run a whole host of situations from traditional labor law, which is under Taft-Hartley, labor unions. I've been general counsel of the United Textile Workers of America, represented them all over the United States and Canada. They're now merged with the United Food and Commercial Workers, so I'm general counsel of what's called the Textile and Garment Council, which is made up of the old United Textile Workers and the United Garment Workers. It includes discrimination law, employment law, education law. In recent years, I've done an awful lot of work in the field of whistleblowing under Sarbanes-Oxley. We were fortunate to win the first whistleblower case in the United States under Sarbanes-Oxley. There have been about 1,400 of those cases. Only 6 of them have ever been won, and only 1 of them has survived. So I have a very broad, I'm at a point in life where I can pretty much do what I want. Over the years, I have a friend in Maine by the name of Frank Wiswall. And Frank Wiswall has his law degree from Harvard and a PhD from Oxford. He is the world's expert on collisions, not of automobiles, but of ships. And he used to have his office in New York, and then he had it in Boston. Now he has it on a farm on the coast of Maine. And Frank asked me one day, would I consider teaching at the International Maritime Law Institute? Well, first of all, I didn't know what it was. And he explained that it was a graduate law school that awarded the LLM degree and the PhD degree. It was it had been created by the International Maritime Organization, of which he was vice president. And the International Maritime Organization is part of the United Nations, a specialized agency of the UN. And I have a Master of Laws degree, as I said earlier, from the University of Leicester in the UK. And that is in common market EU employment law. And so I agreed to teach EU employment law, and then to also teach alternative dispute resolution at the school. And because of that, they asked me to be the honorary consul for Malta, for Tennessee and the Carolinas. And it took a while for the State Department to approve it, because every consulate honorary consulate or career consulate must be approved by the State Department. And so if a country wants a honorary consul in Tennessee or a career consulate in Atlanta, they need the State Department's approval. Well, one morning I'm sitting here in this office and I get a phone call from John Lowell, the ambassador from Malta to the United States. And he said to me, Bruce, he said, the State Department wants to know why we're going to have a consulate in Kingsport, Tennessee. And he said, I've told them we're going to have one there because we want you to be our consul. And I said, what's their response? And they said, well, they can't understand it. They said they can understand having a consulate in Memphis or Nashville. And there are 9 of us in Tennessee, honorary consuls for different countries. But they can't understand Kingsport. And since my jurisdiction runs from the Mississippi River to the Atlantic Ocean, I said to the ambassador, I said, John, just tell them that Kingsport is halfway between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mississippi River. And with that, the State Department decided it was all right for a country to have a consulate in Upper East Tennessee. At the time, I was the only recognized diplomat between Charlotte and Nashville. Well, basically, a consulate is showing the flag for the country. Malta is very interested in developing its commercial ties with the United States. Maltese have education-wise, Malta, first let me explain. Malta is south of Sicily. It consists of 3 islands. It's north of Libya and Tunisia. It was, for 250 years or thereabouts, a British colony. In 1964, it received its independence. In 1974, it became a republic, but still a member of the Commonwealth of Nations, which is the British Commonwealth of Nations. It has one of the highest education rates among the 27 countries in the European Union. What Malta has done is decided that the type of industry it really needs, not manufacturing, but industry that uses the mind, banking, insurance, shipping, intellectual property, pharmaceuticals, anything that is intellectually based has been the great asset of Malta. The room that we have, which serves as a consulate, is property, it's Maltese soil under international law. Therefore, the police, the army, or what have you, cannot enter that consulate because it is foreign soil. It's just, and every consulate in the United States is like that. All the documents that I have that relate to Malta of any significance are kept in the consulate. The consulate technically could house someone who's a political immigrant or something like that, but of course it hasn't. In this, my private office, I keep my appointment as the consul from the President of Malta, the English one. Then I have, of course, a Maltese flag, but this is my personal space. Now, I'll bring you, and we'll go to the foreign land. Thank you. here is the same document in Maltese. And the interesting thing, the flag of Malta has the George Cross, which was given to the people of Malta by King George as a result of their being bombed so brutally in World War II. And of course this is the flag of the European Union, of which Malta is a member. And today, if you go to any EU country, you will find, except perhaps in the UK, but most European countries will fly both flags, with the national flag always on the right-hand side and the EU flag on the left. This, does that reflect too much?
No, that's pretty good.
Okay. This is the archway going into Valletta. And these, of course, the old uniforms and much of Malta's development today has a historical background too. Back here, behind these flags, is the old opera house that was bombed in World War II. It's never been rebuilt. Cleared the rubble, and it's in a constant debate as to what it's going to be. This is kind of an overview of the letter. You get a Roman Catholic Church, and that's the Episcopal Cathedral. And this is down in Salima, which is in a harbor area. Of course, Malta's total island. It's a delightful place where you have both modern and lifestyle and very, very old buildings. Malta's history goes back 5,000 years before Christ. Then the island of Gozo, which is one of the 3 islands making up Malta. This is my official identification from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This is in Maltese, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Oddly enough, I was at a party some years ago in Malta with a young lady who had gone to nothing but private girls' schools in Malta. And the upper classes in Malta always learn English, because all business and commerce in Malta is done in English. People spend all day doing everything in English and then go home and speak Maltese in the family. And this young lady, and many in the upper classes of Malta, don't know Maltese because it was not considered the social thing to do. And so while her husband can speak Maltese, she is a Maltese citizen, national, lived her life in Malta, educated in private schools until she went to the university, and everything was done in English. So she never learned Maltese. And as she said, it's a very difficult language to learn, and it is indeed. I'd like to do this because some people find this almost the reason to come here, because this is the official stamp provided to me by the Foreign Ministry in Valletta, which shows the honorary consul for Malta in Tennessee. I have that, and then I have this for passports, honorary consul. we have a very small Maltese community. What are my duties? Uh, Ambassador Lowell once said, honorary consuls, and Malta has about 12 of them in North America, scattered from Canada to the United States to Mexico. They are his unpaid assistants. Being an honorary consul general, is an unpaid position. You do it because of because you want to do it, or because you like the country, and they range from all sorts of things. There's a Maltese lady down in Hamblin County who lost her passport. She was married to an American sailor who she met when his ship came to Malta. And she's never become an American citizen. So she still is a Maltese, a national. And her passport was either lost or needed to be renewed. So I handled that, for instance. One morning I came in and I found that there was a ship sitting in the harbor at Wilmington, North Carolina, that had sailed into the harbor under the Cypriot flag. But overnight, in Athens, it had been sold, and that the new company now wanted to fly under the Maltese flag, because Malta, like Panama and Liberia, has many, many ships around the world that sail under its flag, for its registration. It's called a flag nation. And so and the harbor master at Wilmington wanted the ship out of the harbor because he had another ship coming in, and the captain of the ship wouldn't leave until the registration had been changed. And so from here in Kingsport, we handled the transfer of the ownership of that ship by not fax, but by email. Its ownership was changed to Maltese. It was registered with the maritime folks in Valletta, which is the capital of Malta. Then we handled its registration with Lloyd's of London in London. And after all that, which we were able to do in about 12 hours, the ship was now a Maltese ship. However, the captain would not leave the harbor without a Maltese flag. And in Wilmington, North Carolina, Maltese flags are hard to come by. And so I have a client, a union I represent in New Jersey, that makes flags. And I was able to get them to overnight a flag, a Maltese flag, to put at the back of the ship. So the ship would leave the harbor at Wilmington, North Carolina, under a Maltese flag. I've done many other things too, but I've always considered that one kind of an unusual one. I want to be challenged, whether it's intellectual or just some project that interests me. I think life should be climbing hills, and I'll be 71 in August, and I intend, unlike General MacArthur, who, when he was fired as head of the armed forces in Korea during the Korean War, came back to Congress, and he quoted a line from when he was a student at West Point, a song that said that old soldiers never die, they just fade away. And with that, MacArthur said, and like that old soldier, I shall just fade away. Well, I have no intention of fading away. I have things I want to do, books I want to read, people I haven't met, stories I haven't heard. And so I intend to keep on going. I think Upper East Tennessee has all kinds of niches and all kinds of little cubby holes for all kinds of folks. And I think we're all bound together by the beauty of the area. by its sheer beauty. Where else can you get up in the morning, look at the hills and the mountains, and not worry at all?